have you guys heard of the term trad wife?
Can't tell you my true opinion because I'm gonna get hate. Nowadays, honey, get yourself 2 boyfriends if you can.
No part of you.
I would not feel any type of way.
You know, wife's purpose might be a bit rude. It's just and shut the up.
So we're here in the streets of London and we're going to be talking to people about a new social media term that has really been gaining a lot of momentum in recent years. It's called the trad wife. So trad, effectively being short for traditional, describes a woman that is very conventional in terms of the gender convention she wants to inhabit in the home. So that means that she's documenting how she makes everything from scratch and that she's prioritizing the raising of her children as well as serving her husband rather than directing that energy to building a career or being financially independent and productive within the economy.
Have you seen these millennial and Gen Z girls? They just want to be at home with their kids. They want to have husbands and they want to take care of their husbands. They want to cook and they want to clean and they want to wear dresses. Society has gone so far in the feminist direction that anybody who wants to live like a little bit old school and a little bit like how women used to live is fringe.
Have you heard of a term on social media called trad wives? Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
What's your understanding of that?
Is it? Have you heard of it?
Nope.
Sports players' wives?
Can you explain it at all?
It's like stay-at-home wives, right? Yeah, kind of thing.
Have you heard the term?
Yeah, but I'm not like really like
aware.
I've heard it.
Yeah.
Trad is short for like traditional, so it means like traditional role within the home that you like make everything from scratch. You're like raising the children. You're not going to work, that type of thing. Gardening out there, out their garden, like vegetables and making dinner and stuff. Have you heard of the term?
Oh wait, this is different from what I thought then.
Oh really? What did you think?
I was thinking more like performative housewife thing, not the make do and mend.
Oh yeah, no, but it's partly that as well, like exhaustive measures like making bubble gum from scratch or sunscreen or like really crazy stuff. Is that something you aspire to? Like if and when you have kids, like would you like to stay at home or would you like to have a career or do other things?
No, it's not a lifestyle for me. I don't want to be a child wife, but
Oh, I'm a career gal.
Yeah.
It's just my dad. Yeah. It's just I guess they both kind of. I think family to me is quite a far away thing.
Vision.
I'm 22. It's
It's
not
so
something
young.
that I'm like. It's just not something that I'm very focused on right now.
I think I'd always choose family over career and everything.
Seriously.
And stay at home.
Yeah.
Build a nice family like that. I think that's what I aim towards.
Yeah.
We grew up like that as well because we're sisters. So we grew up with, being homeless and stuff, isn't it?
Are you from London?
No, we're not from London. We're from Wales.
Oh, okay, lovely.
Yeah.
So do you see that as like when you get married or when you're like in a relationship that you would be, are you the same? Like, would you see yourself staying at
When I get
home?
married, I stay at home, be with my kids, spend time with them because I want them to grow up, with me being present in their life and things like that.
Is that something that you've always felt like that? Or was there a time when you were like, oh, I really want to have a career or I really want to travel or do other things?
Well, I kind of do a lot of traveling now. So when I do end up settling down, I'm hoping to have done everything that I want to do and then take them with me to travel and things.
Yeah, I've always said the same. I'd rather travel when I'm younger and then focus on family and everything a bit later on in life then.
Yeah. Is that something you would want, like if and when you wanted children?
Not particularly, no. I don't think it's for me, but I wouldn't judge people if, they're into that. Yeah.
Is it like a lifestyle that you aspire to or is it just kind of something fodder that you on social media?
See, I can't tell you my true opinion because I'm gonna get hate.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I would never.
I mean, someone once decided that they. Yeah, I'm the opposite. Someone once wanted to decide that they want to wear pants and go to job to like work, and I'll have to work. Imagine I could be at home doing nothing, and I'll have to work at like a 9 to 5.
So would that dynamic, like being a trad wife, would that appeal to you? Yeah.
But I know that this is just something. It's what I've seen in my family. It's what happened with my family.
Yeah.
If I have kids, raising a kid is a really hard job as it is. And if I'm in a position where I can put my career to one side and focus on my kids, I will do that and be financially supported. But I know a lot of people don't have that position financially. Parents have both parents have to work. But I think being a mum is one of the hardest jobs ever. It's very different to being a dad. You know, you grow the baby, you give birth to the baby, you are the mum.
No, I would not want to stay at home. Like, I would love someone to pay me but I would travel. Like, I'm a traveler. I would never stay in one place for too long, so I would never be a stay-at-home wife.
But what do men think about this? Is the trad wife archetype even appealing to them today? And does that appeal to you in any way, like a traditional wife that stays at home or anything?
I can't say so. If I was, especially like today, I think it'd make more sense for both parties to be working at least. And like, I think if you had like kids, it would be good if someone was at the house, but it should be either party can as opposed to the woman must, you know?
Yeah. I do want my wife to, you know, if I'm paying the bills, I'm the income provider, they should be at home cooking, taking care of the house, the kids, if there are any. And yeah, that's just my view.
Yeah. Do you feel the same?
So really and truly, maybe not so harsh, but I do feel like if I'm the one that's providing for the family, the wife does have to do the other job, looking after my kid, doing the whole work.
Like cook and clean and like...
Yeah. However, my wife can work as well, but then a lot of times, and especially in the 21st century, a wife works and says that's my money, and the money that you make is our money.
Yeah.
And in that situation, if she's working as well, the money that she makes is being split between the family too.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. But I do like a traditional wife as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's beggars can't be choosers, so.
Do you have any ideas why this is more popular now? Because obviously a few years ago it was like women's liberation and girl bossing, kind of equality of the sexes. And then there's a certain sect of women that are kind of going back a bit, it seems.
Yeah, I think it's massively social media, like everyone seeing suddenly, and education, we're learning more about women and men and our bodies and how they operate. And I think a lot of people maybe look at the fact that women are should be less labour intense for many reasons. You should technically be less labour intense because it preps your body better for being pregnant. So then they see that as a benefit.
Say it's more like due to social media. Obviously in the past they didn't really have social media, so I think maybe social media has put in like a lot of these ideas in people's heads to adopt those more traditional gender roles. I don't really see it as a problem, but I don't really have anything against people, you know, going out of the norms and going into like different gender roles. So maybe like a woman being the main income provider and the man like staying home taking care of the children. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. It's not what I would do, but you know what, if a woman does want to pay for me, take care of me, I wouldn't be too against the idea of it, but it might hurt my moral code just a little bit.
I think because people have just seen so much of this like empowerment and girl boss and like women in careers, and all the empowerment around that is just different content. People aren't used to seeing it as much.
Yeah.
I think it's just nice to go back to more simple things. I think that there's a lot of chaos and a lot going on, so I like making things from scratch, and if I could stay at home, I would love to do that and be a little housewife.
Yeah.
So I get it.
I think it's like, it makes me feel like, oh, one day if I want my life to look like that, it's like in reach. Like it doesn't feel like if I want to like dress up and do nice things for my kids, and I don't have to feel guilty about it as a woman. You know what I mean? Like it's I feel like in today's day and age, it's right, women, you're going to go out, you're going to do the job, and you're going to make the money and make the bread and which is amazing. But it's nice to have the flip side of things to go, if you do want to settle into that.
You want to embrace that.
And you want to embrace and just be with your kids and be with your husband, that's also okay.
I think it's much harder to stay at home, personally.
Oh,
I think it's easier to go to work, than to stay at home and be with the kids and run the house and everything.
Is that from personal experience? Yeah.
I've always gone to work part-time, and I think it's much easier than staying home. I take my hat off to those that stay home with the kids.
Yeah. So do you see this content as more being like fantasy, like an idealistic view, but nothing that women really want to adopt? Like, It's just.
I guess I haven't seen much of this content.
I see it a lot.
Oh really?
Really?
Yeah.
No, like the restocking, like seasonal restocking. Like,
the fridge scaping.
If I was to ever aim for that, which I don't, it would be the level of like having enough financial security to be able to achieve this, to have enough to be able to like have food for my family, to have the snacks and stuff I want, to have healthy things.
Yeah.
It's like that's what I'm taking away. I don't know, it's aesthetically pleasing. I think it's when it becomes it's a bit more insidious when it starts turning into like, you are a better person because you do this. And I think this is where influencer culture, I guess, really comes into the interplay, because they're deliberately creating something to make money and that's their job. But the thing they're selling is this energy that you need to put into your family, or that you need to do this to be a good person. And I think that is where it like becomes a bit crunchy.
There's a lot of there's a massive rise, specifically in podcast areas, of podcasts that are very pro women not having choice of how they are treated in a relationship or marriage. Very oh, you must act this way, you must act that way. Your body, my choice type stuff that keeps coming up. Not the best, honestly, but a lot of people have been looking at that and being like, oh wow, I don't like women, this works great for me.
Yeah, I think it is also very much with the rise of fourth wave feminism. I think certain types of men do believe that because we're getting a rise, they're getting put down, which is not the case. Ideally, it's supposed to be equal. But I suppose when everything's kind of not women-centric, but there's more kind of representation in the media than there used to be, it almost, for some people, maybe feels like their power's getting taken away, which is kind of a toxic mindset, in my opinion. But, it's change, and not everyone handles change very easily. So I suppose in a certain way with Andrew Tate content and stuff, that is kind of an attempt to get that power back, which not my thing, personally.
With tradwife having more political connotations, does it therefore have the potential to take women back when it comes to equality between the sexes? And do you think this is bad for equalities between the sexes, or
Oh, it's never been equal, honey. Yeah. They say it is, but it isn't. So.
That's what I said. Men will always earn more than women.
Yeah, for sure.
What would you say to women who are feminists who say this type of content is putting women back, or giving a stereotype of women that isn't really productive going forward?
It's difficult because I think, especially in social media, it's always one thing or the other. It can't be both. Kind of the reason we want, we have feminism is we get to make the choice whether we want to be a tradwife or not, which I think is very important. Just if you want to be a tradwife, of course, go do your thing, but we do get the chance to work and therefore have our own life. We don't have to ask a father, a husband, a brother to be able to walk out of the house and buy things, do literally anything. It kind of forces you into a certain position where you're cooking or cleaning and you're also taking care of the kids whilst not really having your own life. At least to me, that's what it kind of is. But if you're choosing to do that, that's fine. You know, you can be happy in that position, but it's tradwife just, I feel has kind of a tainted definition now for some reason.
It's almost politicized in some way.
Yeah, it's really strange. Especially,
I think it's because men that seek out a tradwife kind of did that themselves. They tainted it because in the way they want it is not the way it is. Because you can be a tradwife and enjoy it, but they just kind of want a slave almost.
And what would you say if a feminist said this is setting women back and it's stereotypical and it's a bad thing to put out content in women kind of being very homebound? Do you agree with that?
I do think that this is just my opinion and it's not something that she could really comment on.
What, the feminist?
There is actually one of the arguments the feminist patriarchy, all of that, but like I said, everyone's entitled to their own views, but I don't think it's such a bad thing for women to stay at home and take care of their kids and do whatever, just fit into their gender role, as that has been what women have been doing for the majority of human civilizations. That has been the role of women, so I don't think there's really a problem with keeping it that way. And I would say to a feminist, you can do what you want. No one's really stopping you from going to work, being an independent woman. But some women want to do this, some women want to do that. I say you just let all the women do what the women want to do.
I think that has more to do because a lot of women
see it as like a way of just like getting what they need without really working, because it is a fact that men do earn more than women anyway.
Yeah.
So they'd be like, if I do everything in my possibilities and still don't reach to a goal that a man would in much shorter time, why don't just stay at home and be wealthier than if I go to work?
In a way, it depends how it's done. If it's forced upon someone, it does put it back a little bit. But obviously, if they're willing to do it and there's a choice there and they want to take it, I wouldn't say that puts anyone back at any point.
Yeah.
It's more the fact that everyone's now going, oh, I really want a trad wife. If they aren't a trad wife, then they aren't fit for being a wife at all. Where that is the bit that puts them back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm still forming it because I think I've had like quite extreme views in some ways, and then like unlearning that, deciding like maybe that is not as women-centered as I thought it was, and maybe it was like something I needed to like unpack, because I think I'm traditionally like, is this person really doing this because they want to? Is it something they feel like they need to do? Is it an expectation to be like the best mother or the best wife that they should be? And do they think that is the method to do it, versus do they actually enjoy doing it?
I think as well that image needs to be in balance, right? It's like if you take one thing and then project that onto 50% of the population, that is a completely insane thing to do. Whereas if that is just shown as one option for anyone to live, that's great. And also, I guess, why are we necessarily associating it purely with women? Like that making bubblegum from scratch is not gendered.
Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes this terminology, like, you know, they talk about like serving their husband. It's like the husband's at work serving the woman, like making sure everything's paid for, you know?
If it's a 50-50, you're at work, you're doing your side of things, and I get to stay at home, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But if I have to work, and I have to come home and serve for you, I'll hire you a cleaner. I will hire you a cleaner, but I won't be doing that for free.
Do you think people like Nara Smith and like trad wives on social media, do you think they're like good for women? Do you think that kind of like, I don't know, this is good for like feminism and equality between the sexes, or do you think it's bad? Or?
While my toddlers were playing in the backyard, they asked me for a Capri Sun. Since I had all the fruit at home to make some, I told them to give me a minute.
I think you can't generalize, is it bad for women or is it good for women? Like, women of what ages? Like, I'm 22. We watch her as like a nice little video before bed. A mum who's a single mum that's with 2 kids, that she pops up on her phone, probably won't have the same opinion. But then a mum who's trying to figure out, has got the financial ability to go and do these things, might be great for her.
I guess like I'd rather have that on my FYP than Andrew Tate. Do you know what I mean? It's like, let's like
put things into perspective.
Yes.
Or like political dystopia.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It's like if Nara Smith's coming up there, I'd rather have a 10-year-old boy be seeing her than be seeing Andrew Tate. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
and she also represents a great multicultural family and like what that's like, and like to see.
So it is like a modern family, even though she's taking on a traditional gender role within that.
It's very appealing to the eyes. Like I think, oh, I want that. I want that one day, and it's nice.
Would you say like a trend like that is like, I don't know, like women can do whatever they want, or do you think it's kind of backwards for women? That it's almost like taking women back to...
If someone wants to do that, why not let them do that? Like, it's personal preference. If a woman wants to go out and work, they can go out and work. If they want to be at home and be traditional, they can be at home and be traditional. I think a lot of things on social media get a lot of backlash because you just get trolls and people behind a screen. But at the end of the day, like, if the person's happy, the person's happy.
Yeah.
And like Nara Smith, she makes money from those TikTok videos. She makes a living from those videos. And I look at that and I go...
She is a girl boss.
She is. But she's a girl boss and she's doing everything for her kids, and she's... and she's actually using her assets to her advantage, which I think as women we should do. Use what you have and make the most of what you can. I'm not going to kind of let anyone's opinion stop me from doing what I want to do, and that's kind of what she's done, which is in itself very inspiring to women if you look at it that way.
Aside from the moral debate, as they say, it takes 2 to tango. So can you impose this dynamic on your significant other?
Well, if you've got a relationship and you're with a guy and he was like, you know, I want to get married to you and I want you to stay at home, like that's the dynamic I want, I don't want you to have a career, would that be like a deal breaker? Or would you be like, maybe?
I think
if he has the financial situation that I can stay home and I can do everything, then, well, maybe. Yeah. But if not, then I wouldn't feel comfortable because, well, the financial situation. Yeah.
For me, it would be important the way he would ask me. Like if he said, "Okay, I want you to stay home and you're not allowed to do any work," no.
And there's no discussion about it.
Yeah, I want to have
it's a
choice. He says, if you want to do that, I would be like, okay, why not? But I wouldn't want to be pressured into it and be like, okay, you're forced to do it basically, or I won't marry you.
No, it still has to be my choice.
Could it be flipped in a way of female empowerment, like them demanding their husband to go to work while she doesn't work at all, and she does what she wants to do by making everything from scratch and prioritizing her children and that type of thing?
I think demand in any relationship is not good. I think you both have to do what you enjoy, and you as partners should have that kind of dynamic where you can do what you want together. It shouldn't have to be a competition or an argument over who's staying with the kids or who's taking care of the kids. Ideally, they should just both be together and do that. Female empowerment doesn't just rely on going to work or doing stuff that we don't traditionally do as a society. It's all about having the choice to do what you want to do. You know, that's to me female empowerment. You can be a trad wife and be empowered because it's just you're doing what you're choosing to do.
I'd still think a lot of people do want to work and have the best of both worlds, and men get much more involved now with home life and kids, much more hands-on.
Obviously, if we're struggling, I would want my wife to work as well, and then the roles, the home roles, will be split between us if we're both working, like I said before. However, I do believe that as a man, me personally, I should be able to provide for my whole family.
Yeah. That's part of your role as a man, to provide without your wife or girlfriend working.
In my opinion, yeah. If my wife wants to work, she can. I'm not gonna stop her.
Yeah.
You know those sort of gender norms and expectations, the whole the man should be the breadwinner. I think things like that are outdated. I personally think it's a case by case basis. If your partner kind of wants that, then that's fine. If your partner doesn't want that, that's also fine. I'm not too precious about being a breadwinner, but I'm also not too precious about not being a breadwinner either, because I know some people feel emasculated or they feel kind of way about that.
Yeah.
Me, not so much.
Yeah.
I think it's, genuinely. Come back in the interview.
So if you had a wife and she earned $3 million a year, let's just say a random number.
Yeah.
And she was to you, one of us has to stay home with the kids because we want them to be well-functioning human beings.
Yeah.
No part of you
I would not feel any type of way.
Any type of way.
Can we just circle back to the part where she's earning $3 million?
Who would not be up for that?
I would. Just because she's earning more money doesn't take away or diminish my value as an individual or what I want to do. It's just another function of being together. Do you know what I mean? So as long as you sit down and you have that conversation, then...
Well, I guess under the dynamic, it would be your primary function would be raising children, servicing your wife in that way.
I feel you need to have that conversation to set the expectation. If that's what you both agree on as not just a couple, but as partners and parents, then that's fine. Why shouldn't it work?
I think if I say I want to make my own choice, I do have to give the same option to my partner as well.
Do you think women are kind of put down if that's something they aspire to? Do you think it's almost like a taboo if a woman says, I just want to stay at home and look after my kids and serve my husband and that's what I want to do with my life?
Me personally, I wouldn't look down on a woman who says that. I would say that's completely fine. I respect your view to do that. And the same way with a woman who says, I want to go out and work, I want to start a business, I want to be the income provider.
You're absolutely allowed to stay at home, and you're absolutely allowed to do whatever you want and focus on yourself and take care of the kids if work's not for you. But obviously find someone that can equally share that with you. And it goes the same for men that prefer to work. But I think the difference in that is people should generally work. If you're asking and demanding of someone to stay at home all the time, it almost comes off as isolation, even if it's not intended that way.
if it doesn't work, then maybe it's because you guys haven't had that conversation, or maybe it's unfair expectations. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think it depends on what your definition of a wife and a
Yeah.
husband is in the first place.
Yeah. Like if I'm earning 3 mil, and if my wife can work but she doesn't want to, that's fine. Like if I'm earning 300k, it's also fine.
Yeah.
If I'm earning 30k, I mean, in the current cost of living crisis, that's probably not doable.
It's all well and good speaking hypothetically, but is the trad wife lifestyle even achievable for most couples this day and age?
Do you think it's like realistic, like in this day and age, to expect to be like a trad wife?
I mean, I just don't know who can.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like in a different bubble, but like I do not know barely anyone that could afford to do that.
Yeah, single income especially with kids. Like,
I don't know.
Where's that happening?
Yeah, well, I think we're also very specifically in queer circles, so I can't even imagine that being a reality.
Depends on kind of your background, where you come from, the kind of experience you have, and what kind of family you've been born into, what area. It depends on absolutely everything. Some people, I think, maybe not so early in life. Maybe not in like their 20s, but possibly in their like 40s, it could eventually happen for them.
Yeah.
If they have if one of the parties has a very high paying job to the point where they can support both parties, I feel like the kids should take some priority if they have them, but it shouldn't be one person has to stay back and it must be the woman. I feel like it should be whoever's more fit to do it, which can be the man as well. Whoever has the lowest paying job, if the other person has a job that can support both parties, then it makes more sense for the one that doesn't have a high paying job to look after kids and do stuff like that.
No one should have to be forced to stay back and forced to take back their hobbies or take back their career. I think it literally does depend on the income and the healthiness of the relationship as well.
Yeah.
For me, it's always like the aspect of, if I ever were to end that relationship, that marriage, I would have nothing to go off. So I personally just wouldn't feel comfortable with that.
Do you think it's like realistic in this day and age, like there being a single income?
Anyway, doing that. You need 2 incomes,
Yeah. Do you both live in London?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why not?
If you can afford it, why not? Exactly. Yeah,
I think a lot of houses need 2 wages coming in to be able to afford a decent lifestyle.
Yeah.
But if one of you's earning a good wage, then why not?
Yeah, I agree with that.
It definitely was easier back in the day because of the different pays and stuff. It's definitely harder to find a good paying job to be able to do it by yourself.
The wealthiest families, the man goes out to work and the woman stays not necessarily stays at home, but that's actually, if you want a lot of money, then that might be why they're doing it.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think it's realistic today for a single income household?
Well, I don't think you can say, because it depends on as Ellie said, if they're earning a lot of money, then fine. But if they're struggling, then obviously the wife has to go out. And it also depends where you're living.
Yeah.
Because we were just saying, here it's so expensive. So you might need 2 incomes to live here. Whereas if you moved out of London, you might be able to have a stay-at-home mum.
If you wanted to raise a family somewhere rural where it's much more affordable and you could do that, but if you wanted to live here, Primrose Hill,
no,
it's not gonna happen. Not if you're not of a different caliber of financial wealth.
Well, it used to be the norm. Women used to always, be at home, and now it's and it used to be a privilege that women could go to work, and now it's almost essential. You have to do that.
You need 6 paychecks nowadays, honey. Get yourself 2 boyfriends if you can.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are very rich on Instagram and TikTok, and they're showing these lifestyles that are now the norm.
And I guess maybe now it's almost like a status symbol. Women are kind of performing these duties which most women haven't got the energy and the time to put into.
Yeah. I guess it's the marketing of lifestyles is where it gets weird, because you should just do what you want to do because you want to do it, not because someone else is.
Rather than fulfill this you of yourself that you've portrayed online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, from someone who has a job in social media, you market yourself, but that's not. There's a balance to that.
Yeah.
And that's not. And that's when media literacy is really important, especially with young people, which is how do you how do you input that and then process that and not take that as a perfect representation of a person or someone's life? Like, you're showing one aspect of one day-to-day task that they've set up to make look really nice.
Well, that's it for today's episode. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you like this episode, please like and subscribe for more videos like this one. We'll see you next time.